This is 1.2 ounces of seam opal from Coober Pedy, South Australia. The top of this thing looks pretty good, and we've got some color on the sides, as you can see. I'm a little bit worried about the back. There's a lot of holes with sand and lots of other crazy stuff. Okay, I'm ready to start cutting. I'm going to go all the way around this and see what we can expose. I want to make one prediction though. When we get to this area with those indentations and that sand and that sort of gnarly cobbled together look, this is not going to do well. I wouldn't be surprised if when I go over this, if pieces start falling off of it. In fact, I'd be real surprised if pieces don't start falling off. Okay, the sides are exposed and they show pretty nice color. There's lots of red and blue and yellow. Not much green, but overall the mix of colors here is very desirable, particularly with the prominent amount of red. And who gave you advance warning about that fragile area where pieces would fall off? It was Sheila. Now I felt compelled to expose the back just to see if the color was there, and if it was, I would know that the color probably was full thickness, skin to skin, as they say. Now the back does look very good, but those large grooves with sand would keep me from doing what we do here at Pulitzer Opal, and that's big opal. We're not going to get the biggest with those sandy grooves. The opal arrowhead that I made in my last video is so nice that I decided to make one for myself. The other one will be given away later in the video. This is what is left of the original. I'll mark it and take off another slice for my arrowhead. Change of plans. I don't think that I'm going to be able to make another arrowhead out of it because the color, as you hold it correctly, the color shows when it's held horizontally, and that horizontal width is not enough to make an arrowhead out of. Plus, if I made an arrowhead out of it, I'd lose a lot of that beautiful color. So let's make a cabochon out of it instead. This area right here would make an outstanding opal cabochon. Well, the cabochon is real nice, but I wanted to make an arrowhead. I mean, have you ever thought about having steak for dinner only to find out that you're having sloppy joes and jalapeno ice cream? That's kind of the way I felt. I do like the cabochon, but I needed an arrowhead fix, so I found this piece of matrix opal in my files. Part of it is treated and it looks good, but the rest of it isn't, and I don't know if these white areas are areas that won't treat or if they're areas in which the treatment was ground off. I'm going to find out, so I'm going to make this arrowhead. So the next thing I did was expose the front. I won't bother you with showing you the footage of the grinding. I know how much you love it. The color on the front looked really good, but there was a pale area in the middle, and because of the way the back was, I decided that it would probably be best to cut it into 2 or more pieces. Now, I hate to tell you about this, but I'm also going to show you how to prevent it, so listen up. This is an important message about the care of opals. Cut opals, rough opal, it doesn't matter. There's only one reason that we actually need to care for opals, and that's cracks. Now, cracks can occur when the opal is mined, picks, explosives, etc. But let's say you've managed to get some crack-free Australian opal, and you're safe from cracks, right? Wrong. You see, opal is essentially as fragile as glass, and if you don't want it to crack, handle it like you would glass. If you have an opal ring or bracelet on, don't wave your arms like an idiot, even if you're trying to make an important point about how great the new Spanx are. But your opal will crack if it falls on a very hard floor like concrete or tile flooring. My rule is, if it's too hard for my head, it's too hard for my opal. So if you have to play with your opal, well, I suggest doing it on a place with a carpeted or other soft floor. Now this is all common sense stuff about opal, so why am I talking about opal cracking? The reason is because people don't know that all opals can crack. All opals can crack spontaneously, all by themselves. Now, if you watch a lot of opal videos on YouTube, you may have the impression that only Ethiopian opal cracks. In order to distinguish it from Australian opal, people say that Ethiopian opal cracks. Therefore, it's natural to assume that if Ethiopian opal cracks, Australian opal doesn't, right? Wrong. I repeat, all opal can crack spontaneously, including Australian opal. Let me show you. These are Australian opal cabochons that are made between 8 and 12 years ago. They were stored in envelopes, regular dry paper envelopes. They're stored at an indoor temperature and indoor humidity. Now I don't have time to show you all of these, but I'll show you some of the ones that I hated most to lose. And I think you'll get the point about spontaneous cracking, even in Australian opal. All of these opals were flawless when I first put them away, but over time, I'd say about approximately 3 years average, all of them cracked. Now, there are 30 to 35 cracked opals here, but there were at least 300 minimum that did not crack during this period. So a 10% rate is low, but if it's your favorite opal or most valuable opal, it really means something to you. So why does opal crack? Water. Opal consists of silicon dioxide and water, about 3% water. Water is basically part of the normal structure of opal, and if some or all of the water escapes, cracks can occur. So how do you keep opal from drying out? Well, the simplest way is to store it in water. I store all of my opal cabochons, all of my rough opal, and all of my wife's jewelry in water. I have never had an opal that was stored in water crack. That's thousands of opals over a period of up to 8 or 9 years. So what happens when you wear opal jewelry? You can keep opal wet inside by applying something to the surface that will not let the water escape. Oil and water don't mix, right? So a very light layer of oil, perhaps from your sweaty fingers or toes, will work fine. Now when you get home, you can keep them stored like that with all that slimy body oil on them, but I have had a 100% success rate storing opal jewelry in water. That's my recommendation. Do it and you will not be unhappy, at least not with cracks. Now that slimy body oil of yours might be a different story. Now I have this remaining piece, which is 22 carats. I'm not sure what I'll do with it. I guess I'll just give it away. Maybe I'll polish the front of it, make it look better. How's that sound? Just a little light grinding to get the edges smoothed out. Now we're going to cut it. Just a few areas to cut off, and then we'll be close to oval, and then we'll take out a template after I smooth these edges. Template will give me an exact oval. I like templates. Not really. I mean, do a little quick polish. So I've got it marked now, and now I'm just going to go to the saw, start cutting. Whatever comes out will come out, and whatever stays in will stay in. That sounds like Las Vegas. Well, it looks like a pretty successful cut. I'm going to finish this up quickly because the whole thing took me about 3 or 4 hours to do, and I really don't want to see it again. So if this goes too fast for you, just slow your eyes down. I have not forgotten about my upcoming birthstone video, and I've called in great gemstones from around the world to audition. I mean, everybody wants to be a star, right? Rubies. These are all potential star rubies, and if the right one is cut correctly, a star will appear. A star is born. Invitations for auditions were also sent out to moonstones, and look who showed up. Lots of potential here. These are fine Sri Lankan moonstones. Notice the bluish background. That gives it away. A genuine blue blood among moonstones. And those rubies, I may have to give some of those away. I mean, how many rubies does one actually need? Okay, the sand here on this one is going to keep things from working out, so I'm just going to have to cut it again. Okay, so we're going to have 3 stones instead of one big one. So I cut one of these in half and I put them on dopsticks, and now we're going to have to go and make 3 cabochons, and I haven't even touched the big one yet. Okay, so here's the big half. I've decided to go with an oval. It gets close to the edge in areas, and I'm going to have to extend it, but I'll just put this on a dopstick and let nature take its course. Now I'm starting to put the dome on it. Now I'm starting the polishing with the 600 Nova. At the end of all of this, I always use cerium oxide to get the best polish. And now for the final stones. If there's a dot behind the name, it's part of the giveaway, and to enter the giveaway, just leave a comment. At 17.24 carats, we have Fang. Now don't get too close, or you might lose a finger. At 4.79 carats, a very bright stone named Hubert. Now don't tell him that he looks like a fish. He hates that. At 1.28 carats, we have Iggy. He may be small, but he is big enough for a nice opal pendant or ring. Black Bart weighs 7.77 carats. A lucky number for a lucky stone. But is he the equal of his arrowhead brother? You decide. At 22.40 carats, we have our largest giveaway stone named Shim. I polished his face and he's looking good, but an opal cutter could perhaps change him into something amazing. But that might be a little risky. At 4.66 carats, Spike is smaller than expected, but he makes up for it with flashy colors, mostly green and purple, with small spots of red and blue. He's cool, but he shed a lot of colorful flakes along the way, but he insists that his flakes be given to a deserving viewer. And finally, at 40.84 carats, Sophia is the queen of the realm, and all of the others are just loyal subjects. She has bright color overall, a magnificent dome, and beautiful polish. I wonder if she'll be stored in water. We'll see. And now the winners from last week's video giveaways. The winner of the beautiful bloodstone arrowhead is Blue-Eyed Kitten. The winner of the natural black Andamuka Matrix Opal is Domingo Pilfer. And the winner of the 2 beautiful painted ladies is Captain Acid. The winner of the 11.26 carat fabulous opal arrowhead is, wait for it, Mike King. And the winner of the opal flakes from the opal arrowhead is My 2 Cents Banana. Well, I've had a lot of fun making this video. Stay tuned after the closing for an important message. I recently discovered that Mother's Day is about 2 weeks away, and this is the first time ever that I've known about Mother's Day without my wife saying, "Did you know that today is Mother's Day?" It's so confusing. Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's Day, Steak and BJ Day. I don't know what this is. Don't ask. I mean, they're birthdays. Who can remember all those days? Well, not me for sure. Sheila, you need to put all this on my calendar. Well, okay, get a calendar. I mean, I remember an early Mother's Day at my home. I was in the kitchen, minding my own business, when my wife came in and said, "So where's my Mother's Day present?" And I said, "I think there must be some kind of mistake here. You're not my mother." So she said that I should give her a gift because she's the mother of my kids. I said, "Are you trying to say that I had something to do with creating those kids? I mean, give me a break. You're making that up. I don't remember creating any kids." Well, then she gave me a short explanation and I said, "Well, butter me up and call me a biscuit." But Freddie said that it had something to do with toilet seats or something. Well, okay, I may have been involved, but does this mean that I have to give you and my mother a gift? That's double dipping. I'm not falling for that. Then the phone rang. It was my mother. "Oh, thank you for the gift," she said. I said, "Did you like the candy?" Oh, that's right. I mean the flowers. I must have given the candy. "Well, thanks for calling. Love you too."